It's not about a pole or stick in your neck that breaks. Like a breakthrough is about a rite of passage that you experience yourself, a getting through an existential crisis or a hero's journey, if you will, but doing it in a controlled, awesome environment. People don't get that. So we're going to break down the 12 components of what's got to happen in a breakthrough. And then what that will do is give somebody that clarity that they need to know who they are, where they're going, and how they're going to get there. Now, all the way until the end of their life, hopefully at 120 years old.
The Connekt Coaching Unplugged.
We are live. Good morning, everyone. We're coming to you an hour early than we normally do on Friday because Callum and I have a very special guest. Welcome to the Connekt Unplugged number 19. Today, we are super happy and very lucky because it is their evening in Florida. We have one half of the amazing Steph and Shay team. Stephane Schafeitel is here joining us, and Steph co-trains with his partner and wife, Shay Schafeitel. Shay's probably looking after their beautiful little guy, Sebastian, right now. So we managed to exit stage Stephane to have him here today. And welcome to the Unplugged podcast number 19, Steph.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. And it's good to see everybody here. It's good to be here. I guess we're broadcasting globally. So good night, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever, wherever.
Absolutely. Thank you. We have viewers in the UK time zone, US time zone, Asian time zone, and of course here in Australia. A little bit about Steph and Shay. And Steph are the authors of the Wall Street Journal bestselling book, Master Your Mind Power. And Apple News recently featured them as the world's #1 resilience coaches. Steph and Shay help business leaders and high performers increase their mental toughness and emotional resilience. And this is what I love. I'm very big on Simon Sinek and people buying why you do what you do. And that is Steph and Shay are on a mission to positively impact the lives of 1 billion people by helping them increase their mental toughness and emotional resilience. Gosh, over the last 4 years, I can absolutely see massive need for this, not only in business, but in every aspect of our lives. And why do they do this? Because the individuals who have mental and emotional resilience are the most successful people in the world. And this is their mission. Again, big welcome, Steph. Where are you now? You're joining us. I said Florida, but Florida is a big state. I have no clue where in Florida you are. Whereabouts are you?
We are in Northeast Florida. Florida is on the east coast of the United States. It's the Southeast, and it's a peninsula, dips down into the tropics. Mm-hmm. It's a very beautiful area. We're in Northeast Florida, where it's a little more temperate climate. So South Florida down around Miami and the Keys, it's hot year round and hotter in the summer. Here it's pretty temperate most of the year, and then it definitely gets hot in the summer. But it's a beautiful area.
Nice. So you're more up in the mainland?
Close. Yeah, close. It's a beautiful area, but it's still tropical. But if there's this beautiful area in the southeast of the United States called the Barrier Islands of South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina, and it's very similar beaches, beautiful soft sand beaches, wide beaches, a lot of palm trees, palmetto trees. It's a beautiful area.
I think I want to go. Nice one. And look, Callum and I are super stoked to have you here because we've both known you for many years now. I think I met you in about 2011, 2010, maybe even.
Right. Yeah, it's been a minute.
15 years ago. You and Cal have worked together since 2014, I think.
Yeah, about 10 years. Cal, known Cal for about 10 years.
And you've always been a standout for us, someone who practices what they teach and always had passion to look at someone and think, you're capable of more, and I'm going to get you there. And I know sometimes it may be out of your comfort zone, but I believe in you enough in order to push you out of your comfort zone to have you achieve more. And I think that's a common thread since knowing you, since 2010. But all of that sounds good, but it's the results you've achieved with professionals, businesses, individuals that I think is a testament to how well you get to see people on the inside unlock their true potential. A little bit about yourself, Steph. Tell the viewers where on earth you came from. Were you born into this industry? Were you in a different industry prior? Stephane Schafeitel it sounds European. Can you let us know a little bit about you?
Yeah, my parents came from what we call over here the old country. So my mom was French, my dad was Swiss. Both of them have passed on, so that's why I say was. And that's Switzerland. Some individuals get confused whenever I say Swiss. This happens a lot, especially here in the States. They think immediately Sweden. I'm like, no, Switzerland. It's south of Germany, east of France. So where cheese and chocolate and watches come from. that country, not Scandinavia. But no, so my parents came over from Europe. And so I'm 50-50 French and Swiss. And my dad came over in the early 70s to the US. My brother was born actually in France. I was born in the US. So my mom was pregnant when they came over. That was not planned, by the way. It wasn't planned that way, but I was born on American soil and immediately an American citizen. I'm actually a dual citizen, Swiss US. But yeah, so that's Schafeitel is a very Swiss name, very German Swiss name. And then Stephane is very much a French name. So it's a kind of the perfect blend of those things. But yeah, my dad, he had basically a grant, a $10,000 grant to come over to the United States to start a textile company, a machinery and spare parts company. And his love languages were success, hard work, precision. He took a $10,000 grant, which was not his money and pretty much no money in his own pocket, and developed a multi-million-dollar company. And that's what was all around me growing up. I often tell the story. It's funny. Our house is the opposite of what it is. Like in Europe, you have a boulangerie, the bakery, and that's down on the street level. And then the baker and his family live upstairs. For us, it was the opposite. For us, our house, we were in a suburban neighborhood. And literally we had our dining room had a board table in there, like a real like business board table. The living room, instead of like nice furniture, had cubicles. And that's where the office staff worked. The garage, we didn't have cars that we parked in the garage. They were in the street or in the driveway. There was machinery, like textile machinery, spare parts all throughout. So I was literally thrown into my dad's business at 11 years old. So very much that European mindset of I'm coming over to America. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to win no matter what. My parents split up when I was really young. My dad didn't know how to raise my brother and I, so he just threw us into business. So I was 11. My brother was 17, and we were just working hard inside the business. So total kind of European coming to the States type of a story. And that for me was the beginning of, I will say, being programmed to do achievement and nothing else. So that was my very beginning of my achievement story, would be literally working for my dad at 11 years old. That's a young age to be working.
Sure.
Hard work too. Hey, Steph here with Steph and Shay, authors of the Wall Street Journal bestselling book, Master Your Mind Power. We hope you're enjoying this podcast. Hey, listen, we have a special invite for you to come and join us for a transformative experience in Ponte Beach, Florida, United States, June 27th, 28th, and 29th. It's going to be awesome. It's a 3-day event, and you're going to break through to your greatness, whatever that looks like or sounds like or feels like to you. Traditionally speaking, these are techniques and strategies that we only shared with private clients. And for the first time ever, we're going to be unveiling them to the general public. And we would like to see you there. We're going to cover the 12 components of what's got to happen for you to experience a breakthrough. It's going to be awesome. So if you're in for this transformative experience, click the link below and make sure that you claim your seat, okay? Listen, there's a bunch of enrollment bonuses. There's also some completion gifts and even $4,000 in scholarships to make it easy for you to say yes and to join us. So we look forward to seeing you there. And we'll see you at the event. And we're looking forward to helping you break through to your greatness.
Back then it was legal though, right?
I don't know about that.
Until the child protection laws came in the 90s.
But it was funny. Yeah, it was a very unique but awesome, I will say, childhood and upbringing. It was definitely a hardworking one. Yeah, my dad, keep in mind, my dad is Swiss. And if you know anything about Swiss people, it is precision to the max. Meticulous. Think about the inner workings of a Rolex, right? It's a Rolex watch. You open that thing up and the way it's meticulously crafted and engineered, that was my dad to the T. So everything my brother and I did in the business, he was like, how could it be better? How could it be more precise? How could it be more meticulous? And that just ingrained in my brother and I we laugh today saying it was OCD that now we turn into OCE, obsessive commitment to excellence. But that came from our dad. He was a retired officer in the Swiss Army with achievement on his mind, and he was always striving for perfection.
You mentioned excellence then, Steph, and I remember the first time I met you and seeing you in the training room, and you and Shay were both examples of excellence to everybody in the room, and you set the bar very high for everyone. And I think precision, everything that you do was with purpose and intent, from the things that you said, from the way that you stood, from the way that you approached different situations, and the way that you taught. Everything that you taught was setting one thing up after the other. Everything was planned out. It was, even though it came across like you were freestyling and you were saying everything almost off the top of your dome, off the top of your head, it was very clearly thought out and planned out. And it was very precise in the way that you and Shay taught together. And I love watching you teach together because you worked and played off each other so very well. It was like the timing of when you would make a point and then Shay would inductively say her piece from the other side, and you'd swap. It was amazing to watch. So those things that you learned from your father, the skills that you could call them the love languages of success and achievement and of excellence, they shaped you and they shaped your future. When did you realize that it wasn't just your upbringing, it was actually something that you were going to embody fully and help others do the same? When did that crossover happen from working with your father? Obviously, you may or may not have had other jobs in between, but when did you decide, wow, this is something I can actually do as a career? I can actually build a business around helping others achieve excellence and success as well.
So I'll go chronologically from working for my father at 11. At that point, it was for me already a zest for achievement, also for financial gain. At 11 years old, my dad was already paying me by the hour, and it was in cash. And I had, as an 11 or a 12-year-old, more money in my bank account than individuals usually would at 18, 19, 20 years old, because my dad, a couple of things. One, he paid my brother and I really well. He also gave us bonuses for if we went above and beyond. And then he always stressed the importance of our education, and he paid us for good grades. So if we have A, B, C, D, F, and if we got an A, we'd get $10 for every A that we would get in terms of our report card. If it was a B, we got $5. If it was a C, it was nil, nothing, even. If it was a D, we had to pay $5. If it was an F, we had to pay $10. And so we had this opportunity for understanding, getting paid for performance, plus with school, with education, with learning, creating a very positive psychokinetic bridge in terms of a mind-body connection around achievement and financial gain and reward for hard work when you learn, but then also hard work while you're earning in terms of your work, like your actual hands-on work. So anyway, when I remember 12, 13 years old, I worked really hard because I wanted the financial gain. I also wanted to be able to impress my dad. Of course, there I am. My dad was so precise. He was so good. He was so excellent. His bar was so high. It was so high. So of course, and my dad traveled a lot. So to get his attention, the way I got his attention was through performance and was through achievement. That was his love language, literally. So that's how I spoke it. I knew if I wanted his attention, I'd have to perform better and achieve. Anyway, so I became, I will say at an early age, a machine for achievement and striving for success. Yeah. Now, the point that you're talking about, so fast forward 5 years. So I'm 16 years old, and two huge life events happened. So number one, my dad was at the tail end of his fourth failed marriage. So my mom was number 3. My stepmom was number 4. She ended up leaving him because my dad traveled all the time for business. He was also a womanizer, right? So my dad at this point had an existential crisis, and he was trying to figure out, what am I going to do with my life? He was thinking to himself. He was like, I have to go figure myself out. So he goes, Steph, while I go figure me out, he goes, you're going to have to fend for yourself. He goes, so I'm going to go away for a while. You're going to be okay. I raised you tough. I raised you to strive for achievement and success. I raised you to be resilient. One of his favorite mantras was, he would say with his strong Swiss accent, Stephane, everything happens for a reason. Be resilient, he would say. So I had achievement, success, and resilience like in my head, my dad. And he reminded me of that. He literally fired those anchors. He goes, you have achievement in your back pocket. You're striving for success. And I've taught you how to be resilient. You're going to be okay. And he goes, I'm going to go away for a while. I didn't get what the hell that meant. until the next morning, where his car was gone, his clothes were gone, his bags were gone. I'm 16 years old. My stepmom had already left. My high school sweetheart broke up with me. My brother was long gone doing his own career on the West Coast, a total opposite coast from where we were at the time in South Carolina. So there I am by myself. The house is paid for, but utilities weren't covered, food wasn't covered, etc. And my dad was nowhere in sight. He had no phone. Like back in those days was a bag phone in a car, but not a real mobile phone, right? So I had no clue where he went. To this day, I have no clue where he went. He just disappeared. So that's big, I will say, life event number one that happened at 16. The other thing was I'm in school and the principal calls a dozen of us down to the principal's office at the school, at the high school, and says, hey, you have been selected by the faculty to be a natural helper if you want. What does that mean? They went, well, we put a little card in every class and said, write down names of people that you can talk to about anything, that you trust, that literally they're really good listeners. So it wasn't a popularity contest like president, vice president, et cetera. Not that there's anything wrong with those bits, but it was truly about people that were empathetic listeners and helpers. And so they said, your names came up the most. Here's the deal. This is what the principal said. We have problems going on in our school. People are abusing drugs, alcohol, they're bullying, they're being bullied, parental abuse, drunk driving, you name it. And they're struggling with issues, and they sure as hell are not going to their parents. They're not coming to us. Apparently, they're talking to you all. This is what the principal said. This was, by the way, in the 80s and was way ahead of its time.
I was going to say,
and the
principal wasn't common knowledge for people back then. It was more IQ versus EQ and the emotional aspect of growth or knowledge or understanding hadn't been acknowledged. Yeah,
this was so progressive and ahead of its time.
Yeah,
and so the principal says we're gonna fund. We have funding to send all of you to a summer camp that's going to teach you how to do crisis management, rapport, conversational coaching. Also understanding if there's something like serious and real that you'll pass it over to the necessary authorities, adults, etc. But we're going to have you at the front lines to help these individuals, and you're going to have a hotline. And I remember my number, 292-1167. That was my hotline that was posted through the school along with about a dozen others, where if individuals were struggling or they were in a crisis or they needed help, they'd call this hotline. And you had to man that phone during certain hours over the course of an evening, a night, weekends, etc. So here's the bit to your point, Cal. So the principal, after they tell us all this, they say, your parents need to support it. You're going to need a dedicated phone line. You're going to have to sacrifice your summer to go become trained as what they call the natural helper. So I'm on my way out. And then the principal taps me on the shoulder, says, hey, Steph, come here. Says, hey, Steph, so I need to tell you that your name came up the most. So I'm counting on you. My dad had just left. I'm in my world. There I am. And I'm like, holy shit. My world's falling apart. My world's crumbling. And I'm being asked to help other people put their worlds back together. So this is big life event number two. And that's when I stepped into it. And I was like, this is my purpose, is to make a positive impact. And back then it was in the lives of my peers. Now it's on the world, not in the world, because one person is in the world. On the world is a huge shift that can happen. But that was it right there, 16. I leaned into it. I was scared as hell, but I leaned into it because I'm trying to figure out how to come up with budget to feed myself. I was in geometry class balancing my own financial budget. So by the way, this right here is where it was a culmination of all these things. I didn't know when my dad threw me into the business at 11 years old because he did not know how to parent, and he parented us by managing us and leading us in the business. I didn't know that was prepping me for 16 years old. Because this is what happened. I was like, shit, I need to help other individuals. I need a dedicated hotline. I'm all about it. I need to put food on the table. I need to start a business. My first thought was not that there's any problem with this, but I'm going to go get a job at McDonald's. My first thought in my head was, what business can I start right now that'll generate an income? As a 16-year-old, And it's because of what my dad, he hardwired into my system about achievement, success, and resilience. And then I'm like, okay, my brother had a lawn mowing business. He flew the coop years ago. I'm going to go back and say, you remember how precise my brother was with how he did your yard? I'll do better. And so here are my rates. So that's one thing. By the way, funny side note, what I did is I went to my yard and I did something different. I did back and forth, how it goes dark green, light green when you mow a nice lawn. Rather than going perpendicular or parallel to the street, I went diagonal.
Wow.
And I took a picture of it. I put it on a white piece of paper and I did color copies. That was very expensive then. Really expensive. And I remember I did literally 20 copies in color. I said, do you want perfect lines like this? Call Steph, 292-1167. And I knocked on doors and gave it to people. If they weren't home, I put it on the windshield. Just like that overnight, I had enough business coming in that I could put food on the table. And so I know a couple tangents there, Cal, but it's like the achievement that began at 11 and the hard work and the push from my dad, it set me up that, I sat in my poopy diaper for about a day. Let's be real. You're 16, you're scared, living by yourself. But all of a sudden something clicked inside and I was like, I need to eat. I don't have time to be scared. I need to get into solution mode. And so that's whenever I started my first business. And that's how I funded my way through high school and then funded my way to university, literally just by running my own business and then eventually doing other jobs as well. But anyway, that's those two moments were defining moments for me that I look back at from this moment right now. And I look back that I will say defined who I am now. Shay and I always say this when we talk about the importance of resilience. We always say our hardships fuel our resilience, and that resilience fuels our success. And you see this, the most successful people in the world, they have massive amounts of resilience, and it's why they're creating success. And then the ones that keep doing it over and over and over and over again, because you can have short bursts of success, but it's not sustainable if you don't have the 6 inches between your ears dialed in. Yeah. And that the trials and tribulations in my childhood, I now know those hardships are what made me resilient, which then fueled my success.
I've never heard those stories from you before. They've just, blown me away. I can't imagine what it would have been like 16 years old, just to be like, here we are. I've got to make this work. And one of the big takeaways from that story that I took is that you didn't wallow in what was or your situation, or let your circumstances determine your outcomes. You were a big player in being forward focused and creating some magic out of it, which is another trademark of yours. And it's very similar to Connor's. I've never seen you in all the situations that I've seen you in, the ups and the downs, you're always forward focused into the next exciting new achievement or success pathway that you're getting after. And it doesn't matter what the circumstances are, you're always doing that. And it sounds like after hearing those stories, that was shaped at a very young age. Okay, so we're going chronological. What was the next sort of big leap for you? From that point, you had a couple of businesses going, you went to college. Was that the point that you started to formally coach and train people? Or was there a couple of other little steps in between?
Yeah, so I back then, it's different today, but back then, going to university was what you should do. And these days, so many individuals are talking about the benefits of the University of Hard Knocks and what that does for you in terms of developing a very strong business persona. Back then, it was all the rage. Like it was expected. And for me, that's why I funded my way through uni. And I remember, okay, cool. So what am I going to do from here? You are at this point, you're in your late teens, early 20s, and then on top of it, you have the programs of achievement and success, like just running through you. Then it's okay, how do I leverage the education to make money and good money? And I was on that trajectory and path. I actually had a double major. I ended up going to uni for 4.5 years so that I could get a double major and a minor. And so it was in marketing, finance, and then minor in psychology. Psychology and philosophy was amazing. It's just where my heart was. But I kept thinking to myself, you can't make any money with this. Like, you can't do anything with that. And I'm like, but marketing and finance, of course, there's big money there. And so I went through that. I think everybody has to, like, where you chase money. Yeah, everybody at some point in their life, they have to go through that before they realize that there's more. And I remember there was a point where I had this recruiter who was coming through the college campus that was a leadership consultant who did leadership consulting within the university to student groups and whatnot. I was part of this student group and he was there, and I was giving a presentation as at that point, a 20-year-old on this certain topic. And he came up to me and he goes, I have never seen someone so young look so mature and wise and command a room like you did. I think you have a career in this. And I'm like, I've got an offer from Merrill Lynch right now to be a financial planner. It's guaranteed 6 figures in the first year. I have another bank down the road here that is recruiting me as well. And this is funny. I said, so tell me, what's the pay package like? And he goes, oh, it sucks. It's $12,000 a year. I went, a month? He went, no, a year. And this was in 1999. Okay. $12,000 a year. He goes, yeah, all expenses are paid and everything. He goes, but you will travel. You'll see all of the US states, he goes, at least 48, possibly 49 and 50, depending. He goes, but you're going to do what you were doing right there. You're going to just command rooms, command audiences. You're going to coach people. You're going to mentor people. You're going to lead people. And he goes, it will be about the experience and it will develop you. Now, here's this point in my life where I got back on path, like very much in alignment with my purpose to make a positive impact on the world. So I went for it. I was getting paid peanuts, driving the country, but having a great time, just doing leadership retreats for young leaders at unis and colleges. And so there was that. I elevated up through that organization into a leadership role. And then I got recruited from there into the corporate space. And I couldn't say no. Also a big geographical move where I moved to the West Coast in Southern California. It was beautiful. That's where I met Shay. So everything happens for a reason, but I went off path again. A little bit more chasing the money, chasing success. Something felt off. And then that fast forwards all the way to 2009 when Shay and I started the business. I was so incongruent. I was tired. I love him or hate him. Grant Cardone has a great quote. Grant Cardone's the 10X guy. Yeah. He says, the only points in my life when I was tired was when I wasn't being paid what I was worth. And that was happening for me and in some way, shape, or form. And by the way, it's not just about pay. That can also be in terms of appreciation, recognition, encouragement. It's just you're off path in some way, shape, or form. But anyway, 2009, I was off path, but getting paid a lot. And then I went through an existential crisis myself in about 2016, 17, where I wasn't living up to my potential. I was off path again and definitely not being paid what I was worth. So anyway, I fast forward a lot there just because I went off path, on path, off path, on path, and then finally fully on path again in 2009 going into 2010 and then getting more dialed in as the time has gone. But yeah, you have to progress through the different values levels, the different types of thinking, the different wants, desires, needs. And I went through all of it, but I would say the early experiences added to the wisdom early on that allowed me to be conscious enough to know when I was off path and on path. So yeah. Brilliant. I don't know if that answers your question, but
this is an incredible insight because you have a best-selling Master Your Mind Power, and your focus on resilience is blended through the book, through everything that you do. When did you decide that Mind Power was the direction? This is the legacy that Shay and I want to leave with the world.
Yeah, I got to give hats off to Shay. Shay, I have 5 coaches and mentors myself, and Shay's one of them. She's probably the most powerful of all. She says, you guys know her very well, says the least of all my coaches and mentors, but it always packs a punch. Always. 2009, that, by the way, I made my first million by my mid-20s because I was in startups. So when I went from being a leadership consultant and then I went to corporate working at Michelin, we've all heard of them, corporate tires, I was in mining and construction tires. Like I I pedaled a tire that was $250,000 US for one tire.
Mm-hmm.
It was on a piece of mining equipment, and mining equipment's going to have 4 axle ends. So one piece of equipment is $1 million. And if you're talking about a 20 vehicle fleet, it's a $20 million contract that I'm negotiating as a 24, 25-year-old, where my peers were all 40s and 50s.
Mm-hmm.
So I did really well there because I have a very much an engineering brain, a science and math brain, but I love people. And so that worked really great for me in corporate sales. So I got recruited into the medical device arena, which is where they say the 1%, the top 1% sales professionals will get opportunities at. And Boston Scientific, everyone's heard that name, them, Johnson & Johnson, Abbott, these are big name companies. I worked at Boston Scientific in a small division and had a nice exit there. Really healthy exit, and then went into the startup space in the medical device arena and had another nice exit there. I will tell you, the money was great. I was making $500,000 a year, and so it was healthy. Shay and I had more money than we knew what to do with. We had a small house, we had a small castle for a house in Northern California and 8 cars. So we experienced what it was like, had to do it. Now we have 1 because that's asinine to have that many cars. Doesn't make sense, too complex from our mindset these days. But I got to tell you, so Shay, back to Shay, I came home white, like as white as the wall behind Cal one day. And I'm an olive complected person. So if I'm white, something's really off. She was like, you look horrible. I said, thanks, babe. She was like, what's going on? And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I was like, it's just money. It's just more money. Like, I'm like, but it's nowhere near what I'm capable of and what I enjoy. And then this is the money line. She goes, you've been doing it for a while. And she goes, and I don't think it was just for the money. She goes, there's something, she goes, I know you. There's something that kept you there. What was it? It was a good question. People. I love the people. And I love finding talent in the organization and coaching them up. And she went, there you go. And she goes, and then Shay says, why don't you just do that? Well, what do you mean? She goes, as a career. I was like, I don't know if there's any money in that. And she goes, you've created a business before. Why don't you create a business again and just do that? And I said, sure, if you'll come with me. So then she got out of she had her own marketing and branding company. And so she had an exit with that and then joined me. And then that's when we started doing sales training, executive coaching, and business consulting. And that was in 2009. So that was the final kind of get back on path. And then the book was a 12-year research project, just understanding everything to do with the mind. I'll tell you what happened there. We were doing sales training, teaching sales, and then they come back to us not having implemented anything we taught them because this was all out of whack.
Yes.
Their mind.
Yep.
So then we would stop, coach them on their mindset, and then we'd have to redo the work on us and teach them sales again. So we're like, same thing with leadership retreats. We would align a group. I remember this happened so many times in 2010 and 11. We'd align a group and then they'd get out of alignment because of all the unconscious biases and projections that were happening. We didn't help them release their mental and emotional barriers. So time out, we do the mind power coaching and then go back and realign them until finally we went, okay, this is stupid. Definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again. So why don't we just take, with this research we're doing with everything related to the mind, coming from all the mind sciences, let's just do the mindset stuff first. Let's call it mind power coaching, which we got that idea from Elon Musk. Elon Musk said, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now if it wasn't for my mind space power coach. He called it mind power coach, but it's mind space. So we were like, cool, let's merge those words together and create a brand out of it. We got the idea from Elon in terms of a mind power coach. He didn't mean it as a title, it's just in terms of what it helped him with. And so that's when we made a shift and we started, when we worked with companies and organizations or executives, because I leveraged a lot of my past relationships and so did Shay. We're like, let's just do mind power coaching, then we'll do the other stuff. But that's how mind power was born. Mind power coaching was born. And then the book was through experience, some that we share as well, plus some other modalities and principles and teachings and research. And that's been what we've been aiming to do, is just keep refining everything to do with it. And constant, never-ending improvement.
Yeah, and Wall Street Journal best-selling books. A lot of people have read this book. A lot of people have taken it up. And what is the next step? Someone reads the book and then how do they get a slice of your thinking and install it within themselves, and then they can apply that into their business, their life, their relationships. After you read the book, what's next?
So here's some stats for you.
Yeah.
Don Miller, we did some private work with Don Miller. He's the author of Building a Story Brand. So when we made a huge pivot in our business in 2018 going into 2019, we sought out counsel from Don Miller. And we learned this from him. We were in conversations with him. We told him that we were going to be completing our book. The research was mostly done, but we needed to put fingers to keys, pen to paper, etc. And so we did some work with him about that privately. And then we went to a writing class with him and then New York Times bestselling author Rachel Hollis. And so we learned this from Don. Don said, okay, so hold on to your chairs. You need to know some staggering statistics just so it'll manage your expectation. He said 20% of people who buy books actually read them, like even start on page 1. 20% who start reading it will finish it. And a fraction of 1% will ever apply anything, even one concept within the book. Most people do consumption, but not application. And so that being said, if you just do the math, so even in terms of people who finish the book, 20% of 20% is 4%. So 4% of people who buy a book are ever going to finish it. What hurts, because we put so much into the book, it was one of the hardest things that we have ever done. And then a fraction of 1% will apply it. Shay and I wrote the book for the purpose of global impact. And we're like, what good is it doing if it's like sitting over there collecting dust? Or like, we didn't write a book for sales or for income. Anyone who's written a book knows that these aren't usually income generators. They're great marketing tools, but they're not income generators. Wrote the book for impact, to grow our impact, to help people with their mental toughness and their emotional resilience so that people could build rocket ships like Elon Musk or whatever that means to them. Maybe not literally rocket ships, but whatever that means to them. They just have to have a certain level of resilience. So that's when we started applying all the principles, obviously with our private clients. And then we thought to ourselves, but if the goal is global impact, then cool. We need to create a program that will guide people through it, like literally front to back, plus any game-changing information that we do in terms of our research. And literally, that's how our Mindpower Breakthrough Program was born. It was born for 2 reasons. One, the book, the book sold over 100,000 copies. So it has done well. But for us, if we know the percentages, then I go, okay, what's 100,000 times a fraction of 1%? Oh, it's selling, but all books, it's not just ours. It's not making the impact we want. Okay, what will make an impact? Whenever you have a learning environment where individuals get to apply it. So that was one motivator for creating our Mindpower Breakthrough Program. But then another bit too was when COVID hit in 2020, 2020 and 2021, Shay and I were seeing, so our book hit Wall Street Journal bestseller, sold 15,000 copies in 1 week when it hit Wall Street Journal and USA Today. Our phone is ringing off the hook. People saying, I want mental toughness. I want emotional resilience. I want to amp up my mind power. We're getting all these requests. So we were just doing private coaching. We didn't have any group coaching programs back then. So you had, I'll say luck. Luck is where opportunity meets preparation, of course. Plus you take massive action. It's the third bit that I always add to that. See, at COVID happening, a lot of private clients on our docket. We're seeing up to 30. We're seeing at the peak, 30 clients a week between the two of us privately, which was Monday was a prep day. Friday was a partial off day and creative day. So we jam-packed it in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It was crazy. 5 clients. Let's see. So it's 5 clients each for each of us, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We were pushing it as hard as we could, trying to do impact. So that we weren't having the global impact we wanted doing private coaching. Plus people weren't applying the tools within the book because they don't apply tools in any books. That's when we had the big idea. We need to come up with a group coaching program. We'll guide people through the book, but then also rather than do private coaching, which we still do a few, we each have 3 private clients, high-level clients per year. We need to create a program where we can impact globally. And that's how Mindpower Breakthrough was born in 2020.
Mindpower Breakthrough. So tell me a little bit more about it. I've got some idea because you said it's a live event, a live training, because that's where people have the biggest impact and that's where they really actually put what they learn into practice. It's where they have a neurological shift, if you will.
Sure.
Can you give us some more information about what that is and how people can get involved and what it's about?
Yeah. So if somebody wants to do private coaching with Shay or I, not both, we stopped doing that years ago. It's $120K for an annual contract, and it's one call a month plus a percentage of the growth of the profits of the company. So we realize that's not attainable for a lot of people, and we do want to make a global impact. That's only going to be a certain level of high performer or business leader. So what we did with Mindpower Breakthrough is we took literally our whole curriculum of what we do with an individual over the course of a year to help them break through to their next level of greatness and jam pack it into a 3-day event. Hey, it's Steph again. We hope you're enjoying this podcast. Hey, reminder that you have a special invite to join us in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida, United States, June 27th, 28th, and 29th for a 3-day transformative experience where you're going to break through to your greatness. Listen, we're going to go deep into the concepts within our Wall Street Journal bestselling book, Master Your Mind Power, which traditionally speaking, we only do with our private clients. You're going to have an awesome experience over 3 days where literally you are going to break through whatever it is you need to break through to get to the next level of greatness for you. There's over $111,000 in value in this experience. If you click the link below, you'll be able to see all the value you're going to get, the enrollment bonuses you're going to get, and then also at the same time, the completion gifts. And there's also $4,000 in scholarships to make it easy for you to say yes. So make sure you click the link below to claim your scholarship and at the same time, claim your seat. We look forward to seeing you in Florida. See, Shay and I, we created the program. And we're like, let's coach and teach and mentor like we like to be coached, taught, and mentored. Mm-hmm. And this is how we like it. Rapid, rich, robust, no fluff, no fat, like just give it to me straight. Here's the thing. So Tony Robbins, most people know who he is. If you don't, he's a world-renowned life coach. So he says that true enjoyment, satisfaction, and meaning in life, they come from mastery of both the science of achievement and also the art of fulfillment. So you think of neurolinguistic programming, that's science of achievement. You look at like our mentor, Darren Hardy, in terms of business mastery, that's science of achievement in the business sense, right? There's a lot of programs that they do, we think, a good job in terms of talking about science of achievement. And there's a few that talk about the art of fulfillment, a few. None that we know of talk about the science of achievement and the art of fulfillment and how to have whole life success. Mm. And so that was the goal with Mindpower Breakthrough. We're like, we're helping our private clients achieve whole life success because we don't believe in work-life balance. It's a ruse. It's poppycock. It's claptrap. It doesn't exist. There's no such thing.
What's a claptrap?
It doesn't exist. It's a pipe dream. It's a gold pot at the end of the rainbow.
Yeah.
Work-life balance does not exist. By definition, we're going to be out of balance all the time. It's just, we don't want it. I think about there's a carnival ride. It's called a tilt-a-wheel. I don't know if you guys have it, where it spins and it also tilts while it spins.
Yeah.
Okay. That's life. You never want it full tilt, of course. That's bad. That would be out of balance. The paradox is, you know when things are out of balance, but you'll never know when it's in balance. So what you have to do is you have to aim to just keep all contexts in life conscious and focus on the one that needs focusing on. Shay and I focus on a certain context every year. So we've figured this out for us. We figured it out with clients. And this is a big part of our Mindpower Breakthrough program, is for individuals to experience life success. That means they're experiencing success in all aspects of life, but they're understanding the science of achievement plus the art of fulfillment. There are people who achieve and their world's out of whack. Like the rest of their world's out of whack, to take the two concepts together. People aren't thinking, I would say their future timeline like goes to the tip of their nose. They're not thinking long-term. And you have to think long-term. There's a concept we talk about at Mindpower Breakthrough, which is the concept of a life goal, which is the most important big effing goal. We call big goals, big, hairy, audacious goals. We call them BEGs, big effing goals. The most important ones are your life goals. These are the ones that are bigger than you, bigger than life itself. They'll keep you around for a long time. It's like me wanting to meet my son Sebastian's kids. That's a life goal. Me wanting to go to his wedding. That's a life goal. that will make my body have purpose to be here for a while.
Yeah.
People, they retire. The word sucks itself from whether it's work or a relationship or from school or whatever, they retire. It's like whatever the person's beliefs are, God, universe, infinite intelligence, whatever. It's we're going to decommission your parts and use them somewhere else because you've got no more purpose. And so that's a bit Mindpower Breakthrough. We in Mindpower Breakthrough, we're actually excited. We're doing for the first time ever Mindpower Breakthrough live in Florida in 3 weeks because it's a virtual program. We're doing it live and in person. And we have literally evolved the program. The people who have taken, we've had people who have taken it 5, 6 times. They loved it so much they wanted to keep rinsing and repeating it because they're seeking mastery. We constantly are improving the program. The people who have taken it multiple times are going to come in 3 weeks and not even recognize it. We're going to go through what we call the 12 components of a breakthrough, what someone needs to experience and understand and know in order to break through to their next level of greatness. Everyone throws around this word breakthrough and it drives me nuts. It's not about walking on fire. It's not for a different reason. It's not about a pole or stick in your neck that breaks. Like a breakthrough is about a rite of passage that you experience yourself, getting through an existential crisis or a hero's journey, if you will, but doing it in a controlled, awesome environment. People don't get that. So we're going to break down the 12 components of what's got to happen in a breakthrough. And then what that will do is give somebody that clarity that they need to know who they are, where they're going, and how they're going to get there. Now, all the way until the end of their life, hopefully at 120 years old. So yeah, we're excited. It's going to be rich and robust. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And where is it taking place?
So we live in a beach community called Ponte Beach in Florida. So it is north of St. Augustine, which is America's oldest city that was originally settled by the Spaniards, right? You've probably maybe heard of it or heard about it in history books. So we're just north of St. Augustine. So it's going to be in Ponte Beach and literally like 15 minutes from our house. We've got private clients that are going to be there. We've got friends that are going to be there, family that's going to be there. It is like our last hurrah of doing an in-person event because everyone wants everything virtual these days. But we thought, hey, like Walt Disney puts stuff in a vault and then brings it out. We're deciding to bring it up and out and make it an in-person event before it goes 100% virtual.
That sounds pretty amazing. And when is it? What are the dates?
June 27th through the 29th.
27, 28, 29. What's that? Is that a Thursday?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We do Thursday, Friday, Saturday is the way we like to do this event. Well, usually it's virtual, but here is live so that people on Sunday can integrate. Tell people fly out late Sunday or Monday morning so that literally you can go put your feet in the sand, have yourself a nice little beverage, whatever that looks like or smells like or tastes like to you, and integrate, review your notes, run it through we call it an FEI filter, what's fast, easiest, and impactful to implement. And so it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
I think I'm due for
it. And going to this, people get like a full breakthrough themselves. That's what it's all set up to do, right?
Yeah, and we will guide them the whole way. There's so many people these days that they have an event and then there's 30 speakers. There's a benefit to that. If it's like learning marketing strategies, I get it. If it's, okay, cool, you want to know how to understand real estate, okay, I get it. But a breakthrough is something where you want one coach guiding you through the experience, what we say soup to nuts. We have a saying in the United States, from beginning all the way till the end. So Shay and I will literally, with no other speakers, we'll be full on 9 a.m., 6 p.m., nonstop pouring into individuals, everything that we know. Listen, there's going to be individuals they're going to experience in 3 days, that of which that our private clients experience in 12 months. So that's what I mean when I say rapid, rich, robust.
$120,000 a year clients.
120K a year client. Yeah, you're going to experience
that in 3 days.
In 3 days. And we've figured out how to do it. And we've broken it down. It's important to break it down. Just the 12 major components. And once you understand these 12 components, then all of a sudden you get what's necessary for you to break through. And you break through, whatever that means. You break through that's keeping you from getting to the next level. So
that sounds pretty amazing. Cal, what are your thoughts on going to Florida?
What, you're thinking about coming?
Yeah.
I would love to go. I love going to the United States. I definitely would love to have a breakthrough. It's been a while. I feel like, funnily enough, the more breakthroughs you do, Steph, I'm not sure if your guys find this, but the more breakthroughs that you actually do, I feel like it goes into a deeper part of the unconscious mind where it almost becomes like an identity shift, and it becomes like reality bending. That's what I've experienced the more that I've done. So I would absolutely love to go. We've got Vietnam next week. we should just keep the party going.
We're off to Vietnam next week. What that would require is coming back, either flying out from Vietnam or coming back to Sydney. 27, 28, 29, is it?
Yep. Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
And what's the airport? One week
From the 23rd, is it? Let me just double check.
Jacksonville. So JAX is the airport. It's like 35, 40 minutes from the Sawgrass Marriott. I don't know if you know.
Seats available?
We do. I looked in the system and it looks like I checked right before I jumped on a call before I jumped on with you guys, because there's an individual that wanted to book in for it and we had 12 seats left.
We get back on the 23rd. That's the 22nd in the States. So we've got time to get there.
You guys, do you gain a day coming over or lose a day?
We gain a day going over and we lose a day coming back.
Coming back.
You can lose a day going back. You're done.
We get there on the Tuesday.
Okay. You guys should come.
I'm definitely keen. I'd love to go.
All right.
I think it'd be great for us in our business as well. As business owners, we don't often stop to do breakthroughs ourselves from a mind power perspective. We're always upskilling on the business side, but from a mind power perspective, we don't often get the time. So I would love to be there.
Yeah. Hey, here's the thing. You guys are already next level. And I will say what specifically we're going to be talking about in this one, the one coming up here in 3 weeks, your minds will be blown. Because I know the way the program began in 2020, I would say 80% of the content there, which, listen, you can never hear this stuff too much. Anything related to mind, I love it. Samuel Johnson, famous writer, said, oftentimes we need to be reminded more than instructed.
Yeah.
And the masters of anything, they rinse and repeat the same knowledge over and over and over again. Bruce Lee said, I fear not the man who's practiced 10,000 kicks once, but the man who's practiced one kick 10,000 times. So that's the power of rinsing and repeating something till mastery. But I'm telling you guys this because even 2020, you would have loved it, but you would have known 80% of the content. This one, I promise you, you're going to be like, what the fuck? It will blow your mind what Shay and I have put together for this. No. Our goal is people will leave breaking through whatever they need to break through personally and professionally to literally 10x their life, 10x their business. But also, this is important, while maintaining whole life success. And this next part is also important too, while also guaranteeing your longevity, meaning setting you up for living a long life for your kids and your grandkids and hopefully your great grandkids. That's the secret that nobody's talking about. Everyone's achieved. Shay and I go, yes, and live smartly and healthily. I want to live to be 100 plus, but I don't want to be decrepit in a wheelchair at 100. Hopefully there's no judgment here, but I'm going to say what my goal is. I want to make love to my wife on my 100th birthday.
Yeah.
That's, by the way, that means, think about the presuppositions in that. A lot's got to be working for that to happen. So the reality is that, by the way, that's an example of a life goal. People don't get that their lack of whole life success and lack of resilience and lack of understanding of the power of life goals is hindering them from living the long life that they want. So I will tell you guys, I will guarantee that your minds will be effing blown in terms of what we put together in this content for this 3-day event. Anyway, we'd love to have you there. I didn't even think it was an option, but
you're into the financial year here in Australia. We
that's right.
To balance the books. That's incredible. And what about, is there a community we can join of other people who've done it and things like that?
Yeah, for sure. Sure. So we have a community. It's called the Mindpower Club. Cool. And so the Mindpower Club, we have our own platform. We built out our own platform, our own social media, but without all the drama and without the negative memes and whatnot. We're literally, because we have a bunch of different programs. We have our Mindpower program, which is our development program. We have our coaching academy, Mindpower Coaching Academy, to develop to become a Mindpower coach. Everybody gathers there. So it's the gathering hub, our own platform, our own social media, where everybody in our community communicates and networks and works to help each other out and help to master their mind power. So yeah,
this is after the 3 days. So after the 3 days, I can still plug into this network.
So yeah, so it's on our page, it's Mindpower Breakthrough, mindpower-breakthrough.com/live. There's a whole bunch of enrollment bonuses. One of the enrollment bonuses.
We'll put these notes in the description as well, just so that anybody watching this on YouTube can get back to that.
So one of the enrollment bonuses is a 1-year Mindpower Club membership. That's a $4K value. People who are booking into just the Mindpower Club, they pay $4,000 for an annual membership. But we're offering, it's 3 days with us, which is usually, if a company hires us, is $25K per day. So there's $75K value. You have a dedicated coach on site, a resilience diagnostic to find out where your resilience is, so you know what you need to fix, so that your mind is right, so that if a crisis happens ahead of time, what could be wrong, and to do something about it ahead of time. Our guidebook, swag, lifetime support, that 1-year membership, our Mindpower couple. We developed a 36-lesson program on how to be aligned and integrated in a relationship. This is all bonus. Mindpower Mindset's $1,000 value, morning routine training, create your success training, literally $111,000 in value. And that's for individuals that are attending this one in 3 weeks. So we want to give a lot of enrollment bonuses and completion gifts just to make it easier for people to say yes.
Amazing. Where do people find this?
Yep. Mindpower-breakthrough.com/live. Yep.
Yeah, we'll put this in the show notes, and we'll also put this in the details on the Facebook post that we put up as well.
And also, here's the thing, VIP sold out. So VIP sold out weeks ago, but there are general admission seats left. It's usually $6,995 for the tuition.
Over 10. What you just told me, it should be over 10.
What's that?
Well, with what you've just outlined, I would imagine it's about 10K.
Yeah. Private coaching with us is 120K, and you're going to get, I will say, arguably more than what we give our private clients. We have our private clients that are coming to this event because they want what we're giving them from private, but they want to experience this groundbreaking new information and research we're going to be unveiling. But so $6,995 is the usual tuition. We take a percentage of our profits every month and put it in a fund. It's called the Mindpower Fund. People who take action, literally this week, they get a $3,000 Mindpower Fund scholarship plus a $1,000 early bird scholarship, bringing the tuition to $2,995. Anyone in your community, they are guaranteed that rate. If they're listening here, they're literally listening here, and they just communicate to you, what do you guys want the buzzword to be? Do you want it to be, I'm in? Do you want it to be, yes?
Be resilient. I think resilience. You talked about resilience.
That's fine. So then they get that rate, $2,995. Now, granted, though, it is up against seats. Virtual, you can say there's a limit, but I don't know if it's legitimately for real that there's ever really limits. Hey, marketing is fun. Out of the live event, you guys know, legitimately space is space. And there's fire codes involved and things like that. So for us, what we'll be up against is just in terms of if there's seats available. And right now there are. But so $2,995 US, and you got to book it as quickly as possible to get that. But you also get all the enrollment bonuses and completion gifts as well.
All right. Now, I think, sorry, after you, Steph.
I was going to say one more thing. So what's really cool, what we're doing with this special cohort, this group, is Shay and we're literally the individuals that are going to be going through. They're also going to be part of the Mindpower Club. They're going to have a very rare and unique opportunity for Shay and I to check in with them directly. Yes, our team is there, but Shay and I are there as well for literally mentorship that's going to happen for a whole year after the event. So huge opportunity literally for them to not just get the breakthrough, but then it doesn't end after the breakthrough, but literally there's going to be mentoring that happens beyond that.
Exactly what I wanted to, I guess I was beating around the bush, but you hit the nail on the head. After the breakthrough, is there further support afterwards? And you just nailed it there. So for how long? 6 months?
Yeah, no, 12 months. 12 months. Yeah, so for a full year. Yeah, because here's what we know. Beyond a breakthrough, you have to have the right mentoring for it to stick. And that's where Shay and I come in. You also need access to the right trainings to make sure that it sticks, which all these completion bonuses are literally inside the Mindpower Club for the individuals who get them. But you also need a community to lift you up and to hold you accountable. I'd love to see you guys. I haven't seen you guys live and in the flesh in a few years.
I haven't seen you since what, 2018?
18?
18,
2018. 6 years ago.
2018 in Las Vegas, I saw you and Shay.
6 years. So it's been 6 years. I'd love to see you guys. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay.
Listen, it's
Connor and I need to have a serious chat. Like you said, it's the end of financial year, so it'll be a great time to do it. And I'm very interested in it. And I think what we'll do also, Connor, is see if we have any friends that want to come with us.
That would be cool.
Yeah, come. Oh, we'll confirm it. And even if, 100%, you got to come with us. This is
listen, where we're at is such a beautiful area. There are 4 major golf tournaments that everybody knows of, the major 4 golf tournaments: British Open, US Open, Masters, Tour Championship. There's also, they call it the outlier or the 5th major. It's called the Players Championship, which is the biggest purse. It's a bigger purse than the Masters golf tournament. And it's literally right there behind the hotel. It's called Sawgrass Marriott. It is one of the most beautiful golf courses ever, whether you play golf or not. I'm just saying the area is beautiful. And I will tell you, it's a high resonance area. It's just gorgeous, beautiful, nice place to learn, nice place to grow, but a nice place to also put your feet in the sand and enjoy some tropical weather of Florida and the US.
This is awesome.
These bills in motion.
It's come at a really good time where our anniversary is coming up in a few months. This would be a fantastic gift to ourselves for what we've accomplished over the last, so far, 8 months. And so the dates again, 27, 28, 29 US time.
Yep.
Ridiculous. It's a ridiculous investment. It's not even, it's too easy to not say yes. Good. All right, Steph, we'll be.
I want to see you guys there. I'd love to see, man, would be great to see you, give you a hug. And
meet Sebastian as well. Little Sebastian, we haven't met. Sebastian.
We haven't met Sebastian. There'll be Shay and your team.
Yep. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. It is. Shay and I feel, because we're reviewing the presentation and whatnot, it's dialed in, but we're reviewing it and seeing what we want to tweak with it. And in 15 years working together and developing content, we feel like this is our best work to date. It might be our magnum opus, as they would call it. We're really happy with just how how it came together, and it's developing even more, but it's going to be game changing. There's going to be some things that we're going to unveil too, in terms of, because when we were doing the research for our book, we're studying millionaires, billionaires, professional athletes, and many of which names that we know. And there are just these things that we found that were like, people don't know this. And they don't understand what Steve Jobs had to go through, and then what he arrived at after getting fired from his own company, or what Elon Musk struggled with, and then how he broke through that. Like, we open up playbooks from some of the world changers and universe denters that have lived or do live, and say, there it is. Let's deconstruct it and break it down so you know how to apply it for you. It's going to be effing mind-blowing. We're really excited about it. We're always excited about our programs. I don't know if we've ever been this excited about a program. It's going to be crazy. I hope you guys can come. It would be great if you can come.
All righty. Lots to plan, lots to do. Steph, thank you so much. And thank you, Shay. I know it's late for you guys over there with Sebastian. You know what it's like to have your own family. So we really appreciate your time and time of day that you're able to make it for us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all the work that you do, the great work that you do, helping people, helping them to build resilience and excellence and success and achievement. Yeah, let's go Florida.
Thank you, Sam.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thank you for the great work that you guys do. Hey, thanks for sticking with us until the end. We hope you enjoyed this podcast. One final reminder about this special invite to join us in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida, United States, June 27th, 28th, and 29th for a 3-day transformative experience where you're going to break through to your greatness. Over $111,000 in value. That includes the experience, the enrollment bonuses, and the completion gifts. Plus, $4,000 in scholarships to make it easy for you to say yes. Listen, you need to click the link below so that you can claim your seat, you can claim your enrollment bonuses, you can claim your completion gifts, and you can claim your scholarship. Listen, get ready to break through to your greatness, whatever that means to you. We're looking forward to seeing you in Florida.